Is there a new faction in the works in WWE, and could it be one that plays into something we've been seeing a lot more of on the screen in WWE in recent weeks? And it's a very familiar sight. QR codes, links, puzzles, a lot of stuff. And of course, I'm talking about Uncle Howdy. There's been a lot of speculation that we could see the return of Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy or some other type of character following the Bray Wyatt documentary that they did on Peacock recently. We reviewed that here. Highly recommend watching that documentary. Tremendous stuff. But if you go all the way to the end through the credits, there is that tease that you could be seeing a Uncle Howdy return in WWE. And now you play into all the QR codes and everything we've seen, kind of the glitches on the screen over the past several weeks, and it all makes sense. But is it just a return from Uncle Howdy, or could there be someone, or maybe multiple someones, returning to WWE to join the mix? One name that has been out there is Erick Rowan, who we've talked about this in some of the recent reaction shows we've done. There was a case several days ago where Erick Rowan, the report was that he had told independent promotions that he would not be able to fulfill his contractual obligations, would not be able to add any new obligations because of a new contractual development. So there's something new that's been added to where he cannot do these independent shows like he's done since he was released back in April of 2020. So it's been 4 years now that Erick Rowan has been gone from WWE. Of course, was the partner of the late Luke Harper / Brody Lee. And so you think about that, how long he's been away. He did make that return for one night on the Bray Wyatt tribute show on SmackDown. And again, he was a big part of that documentary that they did on Peacock as well. But could this be something now where all these things sort of connect together and you have the return of Erick Rowan to WWE to stand side by side with Bo Dallas and whatever, type of character he's going to be running with, if it is Uncle Howdy, however we see it play out? It seems like there's a lot of rumors in that direction. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio multiple times, I think over the past several days, has mentioned that he believes that Rowan is returning to WWE. And again, if you just connect the dots, it would make a lot of sense given the independent stuff, not taking any new bookings. We've seen that same theme play out before when people do go sign with, WWE or an AEW or whatever the contractual, limitations are within that. So what happens next, though? If Erick Rowan is coming back to WWE, and he is going to come back for the first time in 4 years, well, I've seen a lot of people wonder, hey, could it just be, these two together, or can you now add in all of the past history? And people have brought up, I've definitely been seeing this a lot on Twitter, the whole Wyatt 6, idea, where maybe this is one where you get a lot of different people that somehow come together, and however they decide to do this. And I've said before, sure, it's going to be a challenge because you're always going to be compared to what Bray Wyatt did with this character, with this world that he created within WWE. It's always going to be difficult, I think, to be able to replicate that without Bray Wyatt. And I think that's going to be the challenge no matter who is involved in this new faction, if that is the way they're going. And look, people have said, hey, Braun Strowman's still there, right? He's been out with injury. When does he come back? He's someone that could factor into this thing. I told you guys in one of the reaction shows, maybe it was Monday on Raw, that Matt Hardy's been teasing all this stuff on Twitter now. And we know that Matt Hardy did not re-sign with AEW. That was the report there. So, you add Matt Hardy. He's someone that has some past history there. Is there something that's brewing there potentially? Don't know. Of course, Alexa Bliss is still out there as a possibility for someone who could rejoin this mix in some way, shape, or form. There's some other names I've seen people mention that may be a good fit for however they decide to do this. But it is going to be interesting to see how they move forward with this, because we're seeing all these different things playing out on the screen, the same sort of chase that you had with Bray Wyatt when he came back the most recent time in WWE, really trying to make you solve the mystery here and to come up with how they're going to bring all this together to bring Bo Dallas back to the company. That seems inevitable at this point. But like I said, could this be one now where Erick Rowan is making his way back? And what kind of role will he have now once he does make his return to WWE? It seems like that is the direction we're headed in, but I'm curious to know what you guys maybe think about. How do they bring him back? Would you like to see some kind of faction here with an Uncle Howdy and Erick Rowan and some of the other names that I mentioned? Or, how do they do this? Is it one where you maybe just have a couple people involved? Is it more than that? Is it all the names we mentioned? Could they all play into the mix here? Are there a couple other people out there that can maybe factor into this thing too? I'm intrigued because I know it's going to be very hard, like I said, to replicate what Bray Wyatt did to make this world feel exactly the same as it did. That, when he had all these different characters, and whether it's, any iteration of it, right? Whether it was just the Wyatt family, whether it was, the Fiend, whether it was the Firefly Funhouse, all this stuff, like there were so many different things that you can kind of trace back to and pull from in this new thing that they're going to move forward with. But I'm curious to know, hey, could this be, again, something where you just have one person? But I don't think it's going to be Uncle Howdy alone if he is the one that does this. Could it be someone like an Erick Rowan coming back to stand side by side there with him, and you start to really rebuild this thing once again and see where this heads? How many names do they add to the mix? And how big does this thing get? Because I think that's going to be, what is the reception from the fans? I'm curious to know what you guys think. If they do bring this back, what is going to be the best way to do it? So let me know your thoughts on Erick Rowan potentially returning to WWE here for the first time since 2020, and how he is going to be part of this whole thing, seemingly with Uncle Howdy moving forward. You would think if they're bringing him back, it has to be for that reason. So let me know your thoughts, your predictions. How do you see this whole thing unfolding with the return of Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy potentially, and all the stuff with the QR codes and all the screen stuff that we're seeing? Kind of fascinating to see what they come up with next. But let me know your predictions in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well on your way out. Lots of videos here on the channel. Always enjoy the feedback. And again, let me know your thoughts on the potential of Erick Rowan returning to WWE.